Hello, everybody. My name is Raina, and today we're here for the Online Safety Summit. The Safety Summit is a collective conversation on current issues that can help us understand the ever changing digital environment. First up, we have with us Sonal Agrawal, who's the founder of House of Pink Peppercorn. So, my first question to you is that how much time do you spend on social media? And how do you make sure that you cut out all the negativity that you experience on a daily basis?
Basically I'm on the screen almost maybe for like 10 hours at least, but then on social media 3 hours. In terms of trolling, yes, I have experienced it, and quite a bit, especially not so much on my Instagram or on my pictures, but when it comes to videos, there is a lot of trolling that happens, especially on YouTube, and even on on any kind of video platform. There's a lot of trolling that happens. So I think for me, the only thing that I kind of do is, number one, not indulge those people, because the moment you start replying to them, I've done that also in the past, where I thought that, okay, let me reply to them. But then once you start replying, it just becomes like a whole chain reaction, and you don't know where it's going. And that's what really plays on your mind and really messes with your mind. So what I have now started doing is ignoring those comments. And I've realized that, while a lot of people think that ignoring is not the best option, you should raise your voice and you should take it up, ignoring is actually better for your own state of mind.
Have you had such an experience where you had to take a step further, and you just couldn't ignore it anymore?
There was a certain designer, like a really big designer, and I'm not taking names now, but the post on their page was a really controversial post, and someone commented something really inappropriate, and I went ahead and responded to that. And then those people, they came onto my page and they started trolling all my posts. So eventually, after some time, after removing their comments, after ignoring it for some time, I had to go ahead and block them. If it gets really, really worse, then I have also written to the cyber police a number of times on one account. Like that's a different story altogether. But I have.
How do you keep yourself safe from online harassment, and what are the safety measures that you follow?
A lot of times, like, I never give out my address, my home address, and my phone number on social media. Like, I would never. But in terms of location tagging, yes, it needs to be done. So what I usually do is I shoot my content. Like, let's say if I'm there for lunch, I shoot all my content, I finish my lunch, and when I'm gone from that place is when I upload those stories, tagging the location. So it's not really real time. But yes, of course, there are times when you have to do it real time as well. And touch wood, up until now, I haven't had any bad experience of this sort. Like there was this one incident that happened with me, which happened, for almost a year. So what happened is that a lot of girls randomly would DM me saying that there is somebody who's DMing them on Instagram using my name. So it would be like a profile which, so let's say if they want to target you, okay, they would uh, pick up a name from they would send you a friend request firstly, using a name which is like, from your friends and followers. They would add your profile, and then they would tell her that I'm related to Sonal. They would share my handle so that the person in front would start talking to them, and then they would promise them that they'll make them a model, and then they would ask them for pictures and stuff like that. And then these girls would message me saying that is this you, do you know this person? And I would be obviously shocked. What is happening? And during this lockdown, I think people were just so bela and had no work. I got at least 100+ DMs like this. So they would create these fake IDs, target these girls, and use my name just so that they would reply back. And I have written to the cyber police about this. I have raised it with Instagram. which is not a very normal, like, not everyone can do that, because no, people don't have contacts in Instagram. But thankfully, because I'm a creator, I did. So I actually raised it with Instagram as well. And the only reply that I got back is that it is so difficult because they're creating new accounts every day that we can't track it.
As someone who has a business in fashion, you must be putting out your designs, your ideas online, right, on your feed. Has it happened with you that someone has copied your work? What was your reaction to it, or how did you handle the whole situation?
Something like this has actually happened. And the thing is that I, as a designer, I'm a pretty small designer, right? Because um, it's a pretty new setup for me. So there's this really popular designer who, as a not popular designer, she's a really popular personality who also has a design label. And somewhere, I think about a year after I put out my measuring tape designs, her label also introduced the same thing. And I don't know, I really don't know if it was copied or whatever, but there was nobody else doing measuring tapes as the key design element till then. So a lot of my followers kind of, pointed out, saying that it's a copy. And that, like, with a lot of my followers and their pages followers, it was like, oh, let's call her out and stuff like that. And I really didn't know how to react to it, so I just let it go, which I don't know if it was the right thing to do or not. But I just feel that sometimes, we get a little scared with the legalities and with, oh my god, how far is it going to go, and whether you want to take it that far and make it ugly. In this instance, I just let it go. Although people kind of really made sure that she got to know that, they were aware of the fact that it wasn't an original design. But yeah, it shouldn't be like that, ideally, but it was. And in a lot of cases, even content gets copied every now and then. I mean, not just with me, I've seen it with so many big creators where content is copied and nobody even gives you the the credit, like, uninspired by credit. So personally, whenever, if ever I'm creating something which is similar to any other creator's content, which I have seen and been inspired by and hence creating it, I always put an inspired by credit there.
Well, now we are seeing a lot of platforms talk about online safety, but how much deeper do you think we need to dive into this?
In my physical space, yes, there is a lot of conversation around it, because most of my friends or my circle are also content creators. They're also people who are in, the social media business. So yes, people who talk about it. But if you look at the masses in general, no, that conversation pretty much doesn't exist. Like, I don't think we've even scratched the surface on that. Like, even people who are educated, they also end up making very sexist, very body shaming kind of remarks, because they think it's normal. They don't even think that they're saying anything wrong. They're just offering an opinion. And for them, oh, you're a public figure, you're online, you have a public profile, so you are open to criticism and you are open to my opinion. That's their philosophy. But I don't think the whole the whole mental health, or even online social media decency, even that conversation, I don't think it has reached anywhere beyond the content creators or beyond the social media um, people who actually work in the social media sphere, which is weird because they anyways know about it and they anyways suffer it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you ask my mom, okay, my mom, she's a very savvy consumer, but she always tells me that she's actually very concerned about me all the time, because so she goes through my Facebook and then she's like, oh, there are these guys who are commenting, and who are those guys and why are they always commenting on your pictures, and weird comments, things like, oh, I love you and stuff like that. She like, delete them, block them. She is very paranoid about these things. So yeah, I don't think the masses have any idea yet. I think it really needs to become a major conversation if there needs to be a change.
Thank you, Sonal, for joining in the conversation today. Next up, we have Ishani Nayyar, who is an in-house counsel. Welcome, Ishani. So my first question to you, Ishani, is that what can social media users do when they receive any threats or privacy challenges?
The online media platforms and social media platforms give you an option to report that kind of an abuse. So whether it is, so I think the first thing and the first opportunity one should take is to report that particular abuse to the social media network. The other thing, according to me, you can always, our cyber laws are quite stringent, strong now. They are coming up with new laws, and in fact, the cyber law team is very I would say with the technology coming in, they are also working towards it. And of course, you can do a cyber complaint to, in case you feel that's more of a bigger concern for you.
Is blocking abusive people online is the answer? What more steps can we take than just blocking?
When you say is blocking abusive people, or such kind of content is enough, I would not say that, but I would say that it is the first step towards raising your voice to this kind of an abuse. So of course there are other means, there are other methods in terms of reporting it to the authorities, regulation, filing it under the specific laws. If you have the IT technology, the IT Act of 2000 gives you a lot of areas where you can report such cases. Reporting or blocking that person, of course, is the first step. And when I report, when I block a person, if I'm blocking a person, it doesn't mean that I'm scared of that person, but for me it means that I don't want to give that person the importance to, in fact, to chat with that person or to reply back to that person, to provoke myself more. That okay, I'll say, why did you say that? And then he or she will say something else, then I will say something else. So I feel that argument is not required there, because that person is not important for me.
Since all of us are putting our content out there, it's very easy for anybody to copy what we're doing. So how does a content creator protect their IP?
आपने apply नहीं किया है for an IP and somebody else has applied. So there are judgments which also say that who's applied first, उसका IP रहता है. But there are judgments also to say कि ठीक है, because the content was created by so and so person, and if this person is able to prove, तो वो उसका रहता है. So then at end of the day it comes to settlement, या on the judgment, on the order, or on the things that you produce, whether it is your original IP or not. So just to answer your specific question, whether how we can safeguard ourselves, how the creators can safeguard themselves or their designs from being copied, I think legally, if you see, the best way is to, of course, apply for the intellectual property rights. And I think that, to my view, is how you can safeguard your content.
How much more do you think the consumers need to be aware and not just accept the terms and conditions blindly of any platform?
When you're going to a social media network, or whether you're going to any website, I think first thing is that you do not have an option. The social media networks or the platforms, sites do not give you an option to reject those changes or make edits to those changes, which you have to accept. Otherwise, you won't be given access to that particular site. So now I think few of the people take that risk, calculated risk. Even if I'm reading it, even if I'm doing it, it's a calculated risk. I think that's something that which everybody is aware of. The other thing is, there was recently, I think last year maybe, there was a report by Deloitte, which I was reading online also, that 91% of the people actually do not read, and they do not read the terms and conditions of the site, and they just go ahead with that, either ignoring or just taking that calculated risk, of course. So I think yes, if you can read it, you'll be aware about it. I think you should read it. You might not understand a lot of things, because there are more of the legal that, and it's not something which a layman would understand. But of course, I think it is something that you will be at least aware of, that if this happens, this is something that I'm taking as a calculated risk. This is something that I know I have accepted and agreed, rather than blindly saying that okay, I have accepted and agreed. Not that you have an option to amend it, as I said, but at least you're taking that, at least you're aware of that.
Today a lot of platforms are talking about online safety, but how can we take the conversation further than that?
I think on the safety perspective, I was working with one of the inspectors in one of the cases in Delhi, and I remember, he telling me in cyber laws specifically, he said that only in India, only 4 to 5% of cyber laws are being reported. So I think when you talk about safety, one is you need to be aware what you're putting in, what the social media is asking you to provide, what are the safeguards that they are giving you. One is the awareness, and the other one is, I think, you should report in case you feel that something is being something is abusive, something is unsafe. You should always report it, one, to the social media network, and of course to the authorities. You should trust the authorities enough to I feel that if you're trusting the authorities enough, to help you out in there, and there are laws to help you, and I think one should utilize those laws to help oneself.
Thank you so much for joining in on the discussion. I hope that we continue to be safe on social media, because that is something all of us are using a lot these days. And I don't think we can live without it, but we can definitely become smarter consumers of it.